So now, in our previous classes, I actually told you guys that in our subsequent class, I'm going to explain the difference between the div and the span. Are you getting it? So now, in HTML, elements can actually be categorized into two main types. We have the block element and the line element. And the main difference between these two categories is actually how they occupy space on a web page. How they actually occupy space on a web page. When you're talking about block element, there are those that occupy a rectangular block of space on a web page. In the sense that they typically start on a new line. And when they start on that new line, they take up the full width available down to the end of that page. Are you getting it? For example, now, if I make use of div and I say open div and I close the div and now type welcome, I open another div again. I open another div, I close the div, let's say second welcome. So if I preview this page, you are going to see that the two welcome, they will be on a different line entirely. The first welcome will be on a different line. The second welcome will also be on a different line. Then another block element, HTML element is P. If I say P, welcome, and I go to the next one and I say, I open another P again, welcome to, you see that the first one will also be on a different line, while the second one will also be on a separate line. The same thing applicable to H1, the same thing applicable to H2, H3, down to H6, the same thing applicable to table. All these are referred to as the block element. So the block element, like I said, they start on a new line. They occupy full width available. They can actually contain other block elements. They can actually carry other block elements. For example, now, as I open this div here, I can open more div. Are you getting it? Then now, the inline element, which is the second part of the two category of HTML elements, they are those that occupy only the space needed for their content. Are you getting it? Just like the welcome that occupy all the whole space in that line, the inline element, they only occupy the space needed for their content alone. They do not start on a new line and they do not take up the full width available. Let's take, for example, now, I open a span. Then I say, welcome. I come to the new line. I open another span again. Then I say, welcome to. When I save and refresh, you're going to observe that the two welcome are on the same line compared to this welcome that we're having here. These ones, they are on different line because they are block element. While this one, they are on the same line because they are actually inline element. And they only, as like for this one now, this first one is assuming the whole space from here down to this last part here, down to the edge at the right hand side here, is the owner of that full width. But this one is only assuming this little space that actually needed for its content. Then another example of inline elements, we have the anchor tag for our link. That is the anchor tag, the actually inline element. The input form element, they are inline element. The label, they are inline element. The label we'll talk about when we are discussing form. They are inline element. The strong, the bold, the emphasis. Are you getting it? The italic, they are actually inline element. So the inline element, they do not start on a new line, just like the way the block element, they start on a new line. Are you getting it? They occupy only the space they need, and they can contain multiple inline elements. Just like we are having these two on the same line, we can have more of them until that space is exhausted before the next one will go to the new line. Now, then the reason why there is need for you to have this understanding is when you are using text align. For example, now when you are using text align, you are going to come across issues like this. For example, now I have this welcome. I just write style is equals to, I'm using my inline this thing, my inline method of CSS. I just say text align is equals to center, and I save. You assume that the welcome is still where it is. Then now let me go back to this first one, this div here, and open my style. Then I say text align is equal to center, and I now save. So now you observe that the welcome of the block element moved to the center. It moved to the center. Even if I take out this welcome to, maybe you'll be thinking it's because this welcome to is here. That's why this other welcome is not moving to the center. Let me take out this welcome to. Then I'll save and preview. You see that the welcome is still where it is. Are you getting it? It didn't move to the center just like this one moved. The reason why this one did not move is because this one is not having any extra space. It's an inline element. It's not having any extra space because the space that is available for it is only the space that the content can occupy, which is the welcome. So even if you try to center it to the center, just like this one is at the center, it won't go. That's one of the challenges some of programmers they face, because they don't actually know how this element works. They'll be trying to set this welcome to the center. They will try. It will not work. And the reason why it's not working is not that the person is not getting the code right. Just like if you come here now, you see span, style, text align, center. Is it not the same text align at the top? It's the same text align. But the reason why this one is not working, this one is not working, is because the welcome, the span I use is actually an inline element. It does not have space. But the div here is a block element. It has space. Even if I want to align it to the right, you see that it will move to the right. Are you getting it? So if I maybe let me change this one from span to H1 now. From span to H1. And H1 is actually a block element. You see that it will move to the center now. My H1 is at the center now. So if I want to move it to, let's take for example, I have H2, H2. Let me just close the H2. Then here I have my style, then my text align. I want it to be at the right hand side. And then let's say welcome. I save and I refresh. You see that I'm having the H2 at the right hand side. Are you getting it? So there is need for you to understand this. Let's take for example, let me just treat this. For example, I have a random text, so that we'll know we've done text align. Okay, let me just copy, paste, copy, then I paste again. Let me just save and refresh. Okay, now we are having our text being aligned to the left. I can just come here. I open my paragraph. Remember, paragraph is a block element. Paragraph is a block element. So I can just come here. Style is equals to text align. Then I'll use justify. Text align, justify. So if I come here and I preview, you see that my text is being justified. So using the text align, we've explained and practicalized what the block element and the block element and the inline element is. And then in the process, we now talked about the text align, aligning left, align to the center, and align to the left. For example, now if I change this P to break, you will see that my align will no longer take effect, because what happened? The break is actually an inline element. So this is where we are going to stop. Thank you.